welcome to Splitting Hairs. Thanks for joining us again. We're about to welcome Anthony Ponce from podcast Backseat Rider. Why don't you join us, Anthony?
All right, Maureen. Pleasure to be here.
Nice to
finally
meet you.
And I love all the colors. I was saying when I came in, I love all the colors in here.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little hair real quick. Yeah.
Okay, well, I would say this is like, what you're looking at right now is about 3 weeks worth of growth.
Okay.
Maybe a
weeks.
month.
Okay.
Maybe a month. So I would say, like, would it make sense if I said, like, rewind, like, give me, like, what it looked like a month ago?
All right. Pretty much the same cut and everything. What about the length back here? Is this a little long?
That's a little on the long side. I usually keep it a little bit longer back there to avoid looking like a Charlie Brown character. Since my head it's deceptively round. Okay. So a little bit of length in back might help that.
All right, so you're not trying to okay.
No, but I'm not trying to make it high and tight and shave back there. It's got to have a little bit of.
So here though, I'm noticing it's a little
gray.
Hair. No,
It's really gray right there.
Well, we can address that.
No. We're gonna roll. I'm going down with that plane.
You're just gonna roll with it.
Right here.
No, right here. So it's really heavy, like right here in the corner.
A little followed by it. Yeah, I get it.
No, my instinct is to take it back. Your hair is longer on the outside, and then a little bit shorter up here.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's on purpose.
I don't know.
Well, you said you had a guy. So
yeah. I have a guy. Oh yeah.
Toes.
By the way, Victor, if you're watching this right now, this is a one-time deal. I'm not leaving you. I'm coming right back. This is a win-win for both Maureen and me. So no worries, Victor. No, he doesn't explain exactly the reasoning behind specific moves.
Well, no, I was just wondering because if that has to do with head shape, that's why.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I should make you aware that I have here. Give me your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You feel this giant bump on the. You feel that? Yeah, maybe he's trying to accommodate for that atrocity.
Maybe. What happened here? Is it just your head shape?
I was born. That's how it came out. It's
you were just lodged in your mom's rib cage for 9 months.
Right. I think that's just maybe it got smushed on the way out or something. But yeah, that's just my skull shapes. Man,
I got you.
The viewers are getting a lot more info than I anticipated coming into this.
So we have a mutual interest of podcasting. I don't ever know what to call it. Industry.
I'd say podcasting
platform.
industry.
Industry. Yeah. It is. It's kind of an industry now.
It's legit. Yeah.
Yeah, the radio thing is dying. We had another guest that was from Chicago Podcast Network, and he was a radio guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his thing.
Yeah.
And he kind of has been sort of
Made
aware that
the
radio thing's just not where it's going. And so he was like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore.
That's not uncommon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great local guy, Steve Dahl. I was on his podcast / radio show when I announced my project that I'm doing now, but he is kind of one of those hybrid guys where he's got the radio presence, but he's one of those guys that have thought a couple steps in advance. He's got a podcast, you subscribe to it and everything. He's got these monthly subscribers, and it's those downloads add up, and you can it's a legit way to make a living if you can get enough sets of ears on you. So,
right.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're both in the process of doing.
We're right at the gates here for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've been doing this a little longer.
Right, I am. Let's see. I started in October, and it is now the middle of May.
Really? It's only been that long?
Yeah, that was my first episode was October, so I've done a weekly episode for, I guess, going on 6-7 months now.
That's what it is, because you just have a pretty good archive.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, that kind of set schedule that every Wednesday I post an episode really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because, this is the first time I've ever done anything on my own, The guy who represents me had kind of has relationships with a lot of people within Podcast One. They have a lot of reach, and they have a lot of well-known people that do podcast, way better known than me. So it was a really good way to kick off the project, because it was almost like, from my point of view, it's like, all right, people know me from Chicago, from the news, but if you're not from Chicago, if you don't watch the news in Chicago, you have no idea who the hell I am.
Right.
Really helped me out in that respect in terms of getting around, again,
So
like
they're a
getting in front
network
of
then.
ears. I think in the early goings of a venture like what you're doing, because it's very similar to me, is about consistently delivering a good product that people are going to like and talk about and mention to their friends. And I think once you have that kind of momentum going, and you can get a lot of your kind of rookie mistakes out of the way.
We've made some, like, you know, mostly technical kind of like things that were like, oh, okay. Yeah, we're kind of in that rookie phase.
Yeah, and you will find that every episode you do, you will learn even if you'll either learn something big or something little, and those big and little things add up every week, and they accumulate to like make every time you go up to bat even easier and easier and easier. My editor and I were like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Like, I have my exact process that I do on my end. He has the exact process he does on his end, and it's like we actually only exchange like a handful of text messages, and
Okay.
the episode gets done. Like, that's how
Quick, but it wasn't that way at first, right?
No, definitely not.
Okay,
No, I was
good.
sitting next to him
Yeah.
in the edit booth, you know,
Yeah.
going over every little thing, and then so every time I give him feedback, it's great because Bob, he's so talented. You mention it one time and he
And it just-
remembers
Yep.
like for each time. So it's
It's-
like, you know, it's really hard to find good people to work with.
Is a little bit scary or intimidating.
Yeah.
Maybe not. s-
You took the leap just like I did last year.
Yeah, and that's what's, you know, how I was saying, I discovered your podcast, like one of the first ones I've ever, you know, listened to. I just liked the content. I just thought it was a great idea what you were doing, so I listened to it. But then the more I learned about you, I was like, oh my god, like, yeah, you took a huge leap.
Yeah, definitely.
faith here, and
Well,
just
I
like-
mean, just like you. I'm guessing if you work 60 hours a week, you made a good amount of money.
Well, yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it was the same for me. I've been without a, you know, steady income for, going on, it'll be a year in July, so like 10 months, but.
How are you feeling about, like, has it been hard? Is it?
Yeah, at times for sure it's been hard. You know, you will find, I guarantee, in this leap that you've taken, you will find that the highs are very high and the lows can be as low. It's
Right.
not like a steady job where you're kind of like, you know,
Right.
even keel.
Yes.
So overall it's a lot, you're not going to be bored. I guarantee you're not going to be bored.
So far I haven't been.
Yeah, and so at times it has been hard. I'm so thankful to have a wife that's willing to give
I
me
was
the
just gonna
opportunity
say,
to do
like,
this.
I know
but
you had a family, right?
Yeah, I moved
So-
our family in with and thank God I got parents that are supportive too, because they let us move in. They had just remodeled a house that's not too far from where I live in Chicago, and so it's like,
Oh, so
Can we
the
do
kids
this?
have, or you have one?
I have one kid, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Theo, he just started walking yesterday.
Oh, he's that little.
Yeah, he's a
I didn't realize
little
he was
guy.
so little.
Um, But yeah, so we are renting our own, like we have a house, but we're renting it out for the year to give my venture a little more runway. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
as you know, it takes a lot to, you know, build an audience, to get get the right eyeballs and ears on your work. And so yeah, because all of a sudden I'm 38 years old.
Yep.
38 years old. I roll back in with the parents. The first month, I was like, I reverted back to like being 14.
14, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I
That's
was like-
exactly how it is every time I go,
I'd
even
like-
if it's just for dinner.
I'd stare at the kitchen, you know, like I wasn't helping in the kitchen. Like they had to like slap me upside the head. And now I'm just so you know, just so everybody out there knows, I am a contributing member to my household. I clean the kitchen, sweep.
Do you cook?
I do cook.
You do.
If you listen to my podcast, I cook Blue Apron.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you should ask him for a sponsorship.
I probably didn't even mention it, but Frank is a chef. We had him on the show. So you're cracking a beer.
Yeah.
That's your.
I gotta go to work soon, so.
It's like, hey, you guys want to work together? But kind of a partner. You know what I mean?
Partner's always a safe route.
Yeah. We're working together on this.
Yeah, I'm glad to see like so many people getting creative, like spinning off their careers and getting creative. And
he did something very similar to like, you had your fancy journalist job and all that, and you just kind of took a risk. Frank did the same thing. He was an executive chef at a restaurant and was just not happy and was like, you know what? I need to just.
Why wasn't he happy in that role? Isn't that where you want to be as a chef?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know the industry, so I can't necessarily like.
You don't know? You can't say.
Well, I don't want to speak for him.
Sorry, that's just something my dad says.
It was just, it wasn't.
If you'd say it to my dad anytime, I don't know, he'll go, you don't know, you can't say it. He just does, it's like a tick, it's great though, it's one of the things I love.
Yeah. No, really what I think it comes down to is artistically. Because he's a creative dude, he was a musician as well before, all that.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a pattern here.
Yeah,
He's a musician. She played the violin. I'm a musician. I played the piano. Savannah, is there anything you want to tell us?
She plays guitar and sings.
She plays guitar.
And my husband's a musician.
Really?
Deal.
Okay.
However, they did just get a review from a guy in France and is talking to them about
international.
Possibly doing a tour, and like, I'm like, yes, please. Yeah.
I've always thought I could actually drive Lyft in any other city pretty much. And
pretty much,
road, and I guess, what do they call it, a road show or something? It could be an idea to do down the road.
Yeah, I'd say why not.
A good friend of mine and local badass, Howard Tolman, he runs the Incubator 1871. So he's like working with entrepreneurs all the time. And he has a phrase, nail it before you scale it.
Nail it before you scale it.
So yeah, I definitely consider myself still in the nail it phase, which is why I haven't I've had,
Do you mind explaining?
I wanna eventually have correspondence in New York, LA, a Lyft driver out there that could do storytelling for Backseat Rider, and so it's not just me driving in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the nail it phase because that would be scaling it, or going out of town and doing a road show. I'm still trying to keep up with doing one episode a week, and getting one episode a week out there is hard.
Oh yeah, tell me.
Mine are all scripted. I do
they are scripted.
Yeah, it doesn't.
What do you mean? You're part of it.
Yeah, my narration is scripted. Oh yeah.
I was like, no.
My interviews are not scripted. That would be crazy. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone would tune in for that.
Yeah, no.
So since there's not a mirror here, can I reach back there and
Yep.
Yeah, not too short. We're feeling good. It's shorter for the summer, baby. Yes. Excellent. Which, so I would anticipate that you're going to be in the nail it phase for the foreseeable future, and be okay with that.
Yeah.
Be okay with that. Embrace that. Because you were asking about low moments. Some of the lowest moments are where you get impatient and want all kinds of audience right away. And when you think that way, it can get you down, but really you kind of have to look at it in reverse and say, well, look at how far I've come. So you got to kind of flip that, and that definitely it's a different kind of a learning experience where you learn how to overcome those kinds of obstacles. It's a roller coaster, but it's so great. It's so great. I'm really having a good time, and I know you will too, because gosh, how similar is what we're doing to one another.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so when I initially found your podcast, I had literally been sort of obsessed with audiobooks. My brother turned me on
on
that.
Audible?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
They're essentially audiobooks in a way.
Yeah, really. Just
I'm writing
versions.
I'm writing a mini novel every week.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm churning out 5,000 words a week. Some people are natural storytellers.
Yeah.
And so you can just press record, let them go, and you're fine.
Right.
But other people, they
you need to.
Yeah, you need to tease out, like, okay, no, you skipped over a major thing that, like, anyone who's listening to this, they're going to want to know. So you have to go back and get all these, like, expository details, and so...
But how do you do that, though? Like, because you're in a lift.
Yeah, I mean, well, you got to do it quickly. You got to make a connection quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
And you get the journalism
just
part
think,
of it,
yeah, and then you
really helps with that. Yeah.
Well, definitely, and then you also have to think like if I'm a listener at home and I'm hearing this person talk, like there's certain things you're going to kind of want to know, so you have to kind of put yourself into the position of the listener at home. Like, all right, I knew this because you told me this before we started rolling, or I can see what you look like, or I know the neighborhood where we are. But like, if the person is just pushing play on a podcast, they need to know certain aspects for the story to have any kind of value.
Right.
Yeah, I'm actually like, just before I came over here, I was doing some more challenging for me writing because I'm changing the format of this next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So like normally on my show, I interview the Lyft passengers and kind of go from one passenger to the next. So like I wrap up with one and then go back again, go to another. But in this one, I'm taking it not from passenger to passenger, but from like 8 a.m. to the end of the day, and kind of mixing all. Does that make sense? Mixing all the passengers in together. So it's like this.
Based on time.
Based on time of each of these incidents they tell me about, each of them happening. So it's like I'm trying to create a multi-dimensional portrait in audio of what a day like a sample day in Chicago looks like.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, and I don't think anybody's doing that.
Well, maybe there's a reason no one's doing it. Maybe it's a bad career move, but no. So yeah, there's doubts sometimes, but no, I think I'm really excited about the episode because it is very different, and part of what you will find is most rewarding about taking a leap such as what you've done is that creatively it's very liberating. That's the reason it's so challenging. Like, I feel like I'm working in a vacuum sometimes, and I'm like, does any of this writing make sense right now? So I actually called my buddy Cyrus.
Oh.
He's a great writer, and he's always someone I go to for writing advice. And I was really encouraged because he said that he liked it and that it all made perfect sense. Because I was like really worried that this new format wasn't going to make sense. People were going to get really confused by it because they're used to a backseat rider being one way, and this is all different. So.
I think that could totally work.
The topic is, I'm trying to make the topic, here's a day.
Right, like
and that's
today.
It's almost like the Seinfeld is a show about nothing. This episode is about nothing.
It's like a Seinfeld thing.
So what I try to, it's this fine line between like deciding what is kind of interesting and poignant, and then separating that from what is truly stupid and mundane and meaningless and not worth like recording or talking about. And so that's kind of cool. And so you know what, if this episode falls flat, like I'll know, like, hey, maybe that doesn't work. And over the course of the weeks you get better and better in little increments. So
yeah.
Maybe we can do a follow-up where you listen to this episode and think, God, that was boring as hell, or my goal is like, so many things and stories are happening all around us at all times.
Yeah.
Everybody is a novel waiting to be written. Everybody is, if you can unearth the layers, then everyone is a full-length feature film. I don't know.
I agree with that, and that's sort of like the thing with being a hairdresser. On a day, and you're talking about mundane stuff.
Hairdresser, I bet you hear a lot.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, that's not my world. Like, people come in and will tell you the craziest stuff. Yeah, I'm cheating on my husband, I'm doing this, or whatever.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Just like all kinds of stuff that you're probably the only person that is, that knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And, so, like, that was part of my challenge.
There's a school of thought that says that the future world is going to go to the generalists. The people that have the jacks of all trades. You know what I mean? Because the way the economy's going. I don't know if there's any truth on that. It's not my theory.
I believe it, yep. I can totally see what you're thinking.
Because gosh, a lot of people are becoming their own bosses. A lot of people are collaborating spontaneously.
Yep.
You know? The big reveal.
The
Oh
big
my gosh.
reveal with our giant.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Looking good.
Man, I'm just getting
Swanky.
so great. No, it's great job. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Always strive to please.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And I don't know, does my head look like a Peanuts character?
No.
Maybe. Can we see the massive bump?
No.
Hopefully
no
not.
Bump, no bump.
Hey.
I promise.
2 for 2. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, so we can find you on iTunes, Backseat Rider.
Yes, Backseat
Facebook.
Rider, and Podcast One, the Podcast
Right.
One app as well. And yeah, I'm on Facebook, Anthony Ponce. I'm on, I have a YouTube channel, but
Not so good.
go to
part.
Splitting Hairz YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where you gotta
Splitting
go.
Hairz.
And then, Instagram and Twitter, all that stuff.
No bark, Daphne.
what we're both in the process of doing.
Yeah, like we're right at the gates here for us. I mean, you've been doing this a little longer.
Right, I am. Let's see. I started in October, and it is now the middle of May.
Really, it's only been that long?
Yeah, that was my first episode. Was October, so I've done a weekly episode for I guess going on.
You know,
6-7
that's what it is.
now.
You've been really good about being consistent.
Yeah.
Or not all podcasts are, but it seems like it's been longer because you just have a pretty good archive of
thank you.
episodes.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
you know, this is the first time I've ever done anything on my own, you know?
Yeah.
And so instead of a boss telling you, hey, Anthony, you've got a
Do this
Wednesday
this
deadline,
way.
yeah, or you got a 5 o'clock deadline for a story, it's like, no, it's self-imposed. And so when I linked up with Podcast One, it
And
was...
what made you want to go with them? Any
Well,
particular reason, or?
Yeah, I mean, so the guy who represents me kind of has relationships with a lot of people within Podcast One. They have a lot of reach, and they have a lot of well-known people that do podcasts, way better known than me. So it was a really good way to kick off the
Okay.
project, because it was almost like, from my point of view, it's like, all right, people know me from Chicago, from the news, but if you're not from Chicago, if you don't watch the news in Chicago, you have no idea who the hell I am.
Right.
So
right.
to
you
have,
kinda...
to have like a partner like Podcast One really helped me out in that respect in terms of getting around, again,
So they're a
getting in front
network
of
then?
ears. Yeah, so they're a network. They've got a lot, they've got like more than 100 podcasts on their network, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I definitely looked at them. I didn't know, I don't know much about that whole aspect of it, so I just didn't pursue it aggressively or anything.
You know,
we're still finding our ground.
Yeah,
there.
no, I think in the early goings of a venture like what you're doing, because it's very similar to me, is about consistently delivering a good product that people are going to like and talk about and mention to their friends. And I think once you have that kind of momentum going, and you can get a lot of your kind of rookie mistakes out of the way in that
That's kind of like, that
You know what I mean?
we've gone through that little phase, like,
Sure.
we made some, like, mostly technical, kind of like things that were like, oh, okay, that didn't work, and we have to change this and that.
Yeah.
As far as just like filming and editing, and yeah, we're kind of in that rookie phase.
Yeah, and you will find that every episode you do, you will learn even if you'll either learn something big or something little, and those big and little things add up every week, and they accumulate to like make every time you go up to bat even easier and easier and easier. And it's funny because right now I'm in episode 32. My editor and I were like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Like I have my exact process that I do on my end. He has the exact process he does on his end, and it's like we actually only exchange some weeks when we're both really busy, only like a handful of text messages, and the episode gets done. Like that's how
quick. But it wasn't that way at first, right?
No, definitely not.
Okay,
no, I was
good.
sitting next to him
Yeah.
in the edit booth,
Yeah.
going over every little thing, and then
Yeah,
so
and
every time I give him feedback, it's great because Bob, he's so talented. If I have a piece of feedback, he's one of those guys. You mention it one time and
it
he
just-
remembers
Yep.
for each time. So it's
That's-
like that makes that's why it's really hard to find good people to work with, and so if you have a good team here at Splitting Hairz,
Yep.
something to pay attention to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the communication with me and Savannah, it's definitely, we think the same, like half the time I'll be thinking about something that I wanna talk about, something that I wanna change or an idea or whatever it is, and like, literally like the next time we hang out or we're together or whatever, she'll bring it up on her own, and I'm like, oh my god, we have the same brain.
That's
like, and I don't even have to talk about it. And
that's a good sign. That's a really good sign.
She's my girl.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, being like so new at all this is a little bit scary or intimidating.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know about scary, but you know what I mean, like intimidating.
Yeah. Well, you're still doing the hair thing full time, right? Or like?
No.
Oh.
So that's kind of the thing here. Is I needed to take some time for myself, and just with the amount of work and that I was committing to the salon that I was working with. I couldn't do this and that.
Okay, makes sense.
I mean, I was literally like, 60 hours plus a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I, kind of had to make a decision.
Yeah.
And a lot of things led to that, but mainly creative stuff, so.
Definitely. So, so you're kind of, you took the leap just like I did last year.
Yeah, I know, and that's what's, I was saying, I discovered your podcast, like one of the first ones I've ever, listened to, and I didn't really, I knew that, I just liked the content, I just thought it was a great idea, what you were doing, so I listened to it, but then the more I learned about you, it's like, oh my God, like, yeah, you took a huge leap
definitely.
of faith here,
well,
just
like you.
Yeah. And
something steady, and I'm guessing if you work 60 hours a week, you made a good amount of money.
Well, yeah.
And so, yeah, it was the same for me. I've been without a, steady income for, going on, it'll be a year in July, so like 10 months, but.
And how's that going? Like, how are you feeling about, like, has it been hard? Is it?
Yeah, at times for sure it's been hard. You will find, I guarantee, in this leap that you've taken, you will find that the highs are very high, and the lows can be as low. It's not like a steady job where you're kind of like, even keel.
Yes.
So overall, it's a lot. You're not going to be bored. I guarantee you're not going to be bored.
So far, I haven't been.
Yeah, and so at times it has been hard. Like I'm so thankful to have a wife that's willing to give me the opportunity to do this.
I was just gonna say, I know you have a family, right?
Yeah, I moved our family in with, and thank God I got parents that are supportive too, because they let us move in. They had just remodeled a house that's not too far from where I live in Chicago, and so it's like,
oh, so the kids you have one?
I have one kid, yeah. Theo,
Okay.
he just started walking yesterday.
Oh, he's that little.
Yeah, he's a
I didn't realize
little
he
guy.
was so little.
But so we are renting our own, like we have a house, but we're renting it out for the year to give my venture a little more runway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because as you know, it takes a lot to, build an audience, to get your, get the right eyeballs and ears on your work. And so the